Coming up on this program, we show you how to get connected. Find out how to choose an internet service provider. Discover the newest form of communication, electronic mail.
Ways down and ready to ride. One by 1 billion by billion, and holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing. If you know it's time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Time for
Hello, everybody. Your computers didn't freeze. Mine did, though. Ooh, the internet moose is acting up. I can see him now. I hope everybody is doing well today. I finally made the dessert that I've been talking about, tanghulu, the special strawberries that look delicious. One of those cases where everything turned out, but it's still sort of just like strawberries covered in sugar. Also, living with somebody that has Ozempic or is on Ozempic is just a little less fun for somebody who loves food like me. My roommate is back on Ozempic, so he'll drop like 35 pounds really quick and feel like not eating. Like last night I made tacos and I said, "Do you want 2 or 3?" And he laughed. He's like, "I want 3. I'll have 2." He ate 1. I was like, "Oh, the Ozempic has kicked in. I see. I see. Mostly jealous, you know, like just a little jealous. But that's okay. Yeah, I heard there's another one. One of the celebrities was on. Courtney, you don't need to take that. Give me a break. Yeah, he, you know, for people that are pre-diabetic, it is a really good thing. For people that want to lose weight, I guess it's a pretty good thing, although you have to stay on it in order to lose the weight. If you come off of it, you tend not to have done any actual lifestyle changes. You have done one lifestyle change, aka eating less, but it's not a lasting change unless you like replaced it with working out or like eating healthy. No, I probably don't need to take it either. I don't think I could. Well, I mean, I might. I don't know. I'm pretty fat right now. I know that triggers some people to hear, but for me, I weigh more now than I did at my highest pregnancy rate, which is shocking to me. But I blame cheese and the pandemic, and my body being like, hey, you gotta store some of this cheese for us to eat later. Yeah. So, but I will say it is a nice kick in the pants when you lose like 25 or 30 pounds. I've lost 15 pounds lately, through diet and exercise, not Ozempic. So, it's good. I mean, I'm drinking full Coke because I stopped drinking that thinking I was going to lose a lot of weight. I didn't, and I was just not as happy. So now I drink Coke when I want to drink my Coke. I also still drink coffee with cream and sugar in it because that makes me happy. So that's where we're going with that. But I eat a lot less cheeseburgers. I eat healthier now and way more now than I ever did, but I also am making strawberries covered in sugar. So you know what I mean. Anyways, you guys, I probably it's almost like grocery stores, pizza places, and fucking like meal kits have a direct line to when I'm speaking, because there's a grocery store emailing me like, hey bitch, did you say you were hungry? Did you say you were hungry? You want to come buy some food? Want to come buy some food, little fatty? It's obviously not what it said, although I probably would have opened the email if it did. Hey, little fatty, you want to come eat? But I'm sure that a lot of people would complain. So, tailored advertising just for me. Anywho, pizza does sound good. A bagel a day is not that bad. Overall, I think part of it is that my stress levels have actually gone down, and stress is a fucking weight. It can zap your hunger. So less stressed, more fat. Also, though, I have to say that when I moved just before Christmas, the place that I live in now is not as close to things as my other place was. So it's just not as easy to like I can't walk to the pool from here. But I need to get back into it. Whatever. Bitch, bitch, moan, moan, blah, blah, blah. Hot girl summer, probably not this year. Maybe next year, maybe a hot girl winter. Let's aim for like a hot girl winter. Burqa style. Also, I forgot to buy the fucking saltine crackers. If anybody else has checked into that, but I have a funny feeling I should eat no carbs. That is what the answer is going to tell me, even though I love them. Anyways, so what we're going to watch today is a case in front of referee Kometz. He is he's in Michigan, and I always refer to him as the joking judge, but oh Jesus. But he's not joking in this one. He's pretty serious. The audio is mediocre at the beginning because I had to record it in 2x speed. And then when I slow it down, it makes them sound a little robotic, but it's the best I can do. I've yet to figure out a way to record live streams as they're going without like catching them from the beginning. If somebody knows how to do that, let's talk. I would love to talk about that. But as I was listening to, like when I started listening to it, I was like, yeah, this is worth listening to. So I went back and I started recording from the beginning, but I was about 20 minutes behind. And it's quite nuanced, but I found it interesting. So without further ado, Paisley, put on the goddamn video. Oh, also thanks for being here. Yeah.
In this matter, the court called this as a witness, and it turns out that I do have that authority. I was reminded by a Supreme Court justice last week during some of our training that I do have the authority, which is odd because the authority is granted to me to call a witness, but I'm not allowed to sign the subpoena. Either the presiding judge has to sign it or one of the practicing attorney or the attorneys of record. Luckily, Mr.
So you can hear, I don't know how to get rid of that. Also, if you know how to get rid of that noise, like the roboticness in it, I don't know how. But as you heard, quite interesting. So he has called this witness himself, the judge or the judicial official over here. MB, I was thinking of you when I listened to this case because I was like, this judge is full of humble brags. Like, was that a humble brag where he just said, hey, oh, I wonder if AI could fix it. Cellulite yoga pants. Yeah. Is it a humble brag when he's like, yeah, the Supreme Court justice reminded me last week? Like, as if you didn't run up to the Supreme Court justice and be like, excuse me, hi, I have a question. Anyways, let's continue. Hi, Wendy.
Crow did send the subpoena, so that witness will be called. But that is the only witness left, correct, Mr. Crow?
That's my understanding, subject to rebuttal, Your Honor. That's
Yeah, subject to rebuttal. Yes, of course. All righty. Then let's go ahead and proceed. If you could bring in the witness, ma'am.
Full Creed frame. That was a full Creed frame. Completely kicked me out. Okay. Not good. What's the pupper's name, Chuck? What's the pupper's name?
that's my understanding.
I'm here. I know it's the new Creed frame. It kicks us all the way out. All the way out, bro. Oman. Oh, that's a sweet little name. Hi, Oman. I think you're so sweet. Yes, I do. Okay, so he's just bringing in the witness. I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna go get my strawberries to show you guys, show them off. I have to admit something though, you guys. It's just like sometimes things don't turn out. I just want us to know that, okay? So let's hit play.
Subject to rebuttal, Your Honor. That's
Yeah, subject to rebuttal. Yes, of course. All righty. Then let's go ahead and proceed. If you could bring in the witness, ma'am. I guess for purposes, Mr. Crow, I'll let you do the examination, but I'll let you do it as a hostile witness. So if you want to use leading questions,
Thank you, Your Honor.
that way, Mr. Tenhor, you can see the full tenor of it, and then you can base your questions based upon that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I try to let the attorney go first. That way, you can get the gist of.
Okay, here's what happened. I was supposed to be making something called Tang Hulu. It is like crystal. Oh my god, they were so perfect before. It is like crystallized strawberries. Okay? With sugar, like sugar. This is a plain strawberry, nothing on it. This one has a hard sugar on it. Oh my god. But here's the thing. Oh my god, 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 oh my god. I've just made a huge mess. Oh fuck. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. They're dripping all over me. Oh my God, I'm covered in it. Oh, that's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she said. God fucking damn it. That's what fucking she said. Oh, damn it. And look at these ones look like somebody came on them. These ones were just bad. But there's all this strawberry juice dripping off, you guys. I'm in a heap of trouble here. A heap of trouble. So this is why they said just don't prepare these in advance. Oh my God, I'm covered. I'm covered. Oh. God fucking damn it. All right. Why can't I mute it? Oh my God.
What's happening? Ms. Van Zee, can you connect, please? Julie, if you could unmute, maybe turn on your video.
How's that?
Perfect. Do you have a video?
All the strawberries
Yes.
are ruined.
Okay. It'd be nice to see you as well. Welcome.
How's that?
All right.
Great.
All right. Welcome. Maybe a little uncomfortable, Ms. Van Zee, but the court has called you as a witness in this matter. Because of testimony
Yes.
of the parties, I needed the actual person who is uninterested in this case to bring in and bring forth testimony in this. The court will not be questioning you. I may have questions at the end for any questions that I might have left, but the attorney will question you and Mr. Tenmore will question you, will cross-examine you. So, Ms. Van Zee,
Yes.
here, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in giving testimony?
Yes.
Alrighty, ma'am. I'm going to let Mr. Crow question as a hostile witness, and that's just a word that's legal for basically it allows him to ask you leading questions because he did not call you. Therefore, for him to examine you would not be appropriate. On examination, questions are who, what, when, why, how. In other words, all the testimony comes from the witness. On cross-examination, you're allowed to ask leading questions that can only lead to yes or no answers. So I'm giving him that opportunity to ask either form of those questions, since the court called you and neither party called you. All right? Sorry I put you in this position, but I need the information you have, and only you have it. So, and I need to make a decision based on the best interest of this child. So, all right, Mr. Crow, if you care to proceed, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm very well. My name is Wayne Crow, and I represent Ms. Churchill in this case. And I'm going to be asking you a few questions, initially to get a sense of your background and your experience in this area. Ma'am, you currently work at Michigan Assessment Services. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been employed at Michigan Assessment Services?
3 years.
2 years. So you say 3 years or 2 years?
3.
3 years. Forgive me. It just came in a little muddled in the conversation. Okay. What kind of services does Michigan Assessment Services usually undertake?
We typically do substance abuse evaluations for individuals types. Sometimes we do them for the courts, sometimes for Department of Transportation, and sometimes for driver's license restoration with Secretary of State. So that's one primary component of what we do. We also provide supervised hearing time. Since I have that in my background, as does my colleague, Deb Denbor.
Okay. And how long have you worked in that capacity supervising parenting time with Michigan Assessment Services? Have you been doing it the whole time you've been working there?
Yes, 3 years here and then roughly 3 years at Journeys.
Okay. So you worked for 3 years previous to this at Journeys. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. At Journeys, you did a similar role. Is that right? In supervising parenting time?
Correct.
And while you were working at Michigan Assessment Service, how common is the supervised schedule that's currently in place, which essentially is at the homes of the respective parties? How often is that the supervised parenting time that goes into place?
Typically here at Michigan Assessment Services, that is the norm, because what we try to give to parties and court an option to have parenting time for community based. There's a transition, hopefully, that we're providing from a more structured setting at a facility to fill in that gap before someone does unsupervised parent time. So that's the service we try to provide in
Okay.
that gap area.
Okay, and how many people work at Michigan Assessment Services?
3,
Three, and what are the names of the people who work there?
Deb Denbor, David Baker, and myself.
Okay, and there was a period of time, I believe, at our last court appearance in which you were ill and you were not able to attend our last court appearance. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and previous to the time, uh, a subpoena was issued on March 6, 2024, was issued from my office to Michigan Assessment Services. Were you aware of the subpoena that was issued to that office?
Yes.
You were. And have you taken steps to provide to my office all phone record communications and your resume and curriculum vitae to my office?
No, I have not.
Oh,
So hi Lucy, and I apologize again about the audio, but like I said, there's nothing we can do. If you're following along though, ladies and gentlemen, sorry. She just admitted to not responding to the subpoena, which I don't know the judge will like very much. In fact, he doesn't. And the lawyer is going to beat this point to death. But it is important because it's the legal process.
My understanding that I would receive a second subpoena for that.
why would the,
If you were so interested in that information, it's my understanding you had a conversation with my supervisor, Deb
Right.
Enfor,
Right.
about this matter. And it's my understanding that you would have recontacted our office requesting that, or at the least an invoice for the cost of that, as she discussed with you.
Okay, I guess,
So
Mr.
that's why-
Crowe, Mr. Crowe, I should ask the question. Your subpoena was for her as a witness. Did it also involve a subpoena to Dukas Tecum?
yes, what we asked
Okay.
for specifically was both that she appear personally at that date and that she
Okay.
provide all notes and memos, all texts and emails,
Yep.
all phone record communications with Mr. Tenhor, and her resume and curriculum vitae, none of which was provided to my office. And so
Was there a request for payment of that? Because I believe that's inherent in that they can ask you to pay for whatever.
there was not a request made in my office for anything here.
Okay, in other words, that should have been done in writing.
So not only wasn't let me be very clear with the court. Not only was there not a request for payment made, it was specifically stated to me by the gentleman that Ms. Venhor just referenced that they did not intend on complying with the subpoena, and that he indicated to me that he did not believe that they had an obligation to do so. And I said to him quite clearly, we have provided a lawful subpoena to your office regarding this hearing, and that you have an obligation to do so. And he indicated that he did not intend on doing so. He did not think it was a proper subpoena, and that he didn't feel like he had to comply.
In that case, Ms. Van Zee, I would warn your superior that non-compliance with the subpoena can wind up with one of you two spending a weekend enjoying the bologna sandwiches as fixed by the local constabulary. So,
Yeah, I'm not aware of
right.
a conversation with Mr.
Yeah.
Baker.
Just make
I'm
sure,
not
just,
aware of that.
just
Well,
make
I
sure,
mean-
well, just make sure that that happens, because Mr. Crowe could have easily brought that in for a show cause before the judge, where fees, fines, costs, as well as attorney fees and potential incarceration until compliance is
I think
all on
he-
the table. Now, the judge probably would not throw somebody in jail the first time they did that, but if the judge heard what I just heard, and that's what the testimony would be on that, it wouldn't be a pretty sight. So you might want to tell them next time, contact the attorney saying, this is how much it will cost us to do this. Do we need to send you like a bill or, some kind of, yeah. But yeah, no, you guys don't get to judge whether the subpoena unless you're an attorney. Mr. Baker's not an attorney, is he? Tell him that he can add a sidebar of practicing law without a license and trying to interpret a legal document.
And so, Your Honor, the issue is, and I will certainly return back to my question of the witness.
Correct.
The issue is, Your Honor, is that these are all profoundly relevant to the testimony in which this witness is going to give. And it is not as if, to be very clear, it is
Right.
not as if I sent this 2 weeks ago. Okay. There has now been close to 60 days in which there has been no attempt at all. By the way, and didn't get lost in the mail. There's an acknowledgement by the witness right now, an acknowledgement by the supervisor in the communication with me that they received the subpoena and they are electing not to. So, Your Honor, I did not show cause them simply because of the fact I recognize the fact that these are third-party witnesses and that
Right.
she's the supervisor of this action. I don't have any strong desire to see.
Nobody does. That's why, although I gave the harsh warning,
Yeah,
that's a warning I have to give.
right.
But at the same time, none of us, as you can see, Ms. Fancy, would ever want to do that. We realize your jobs are hard. They're not easy, but without those records, technically the court could strike all of your testimony. I am not inclined to do so. I am inclined to limit it to your observations of the interactions between the child and Mr. Tenhor and how that progressed over time.
And
That's why I called you.
And Judge, one more point, which is relevant. If the court will recall, even back in December of 2023, my office had to file a motion asking for the matter to be adjourned because our witness here today sent over a copy of her report over to Mr. Tenhor 30 to 45 days before a hearing date and was not provided to my office or my client.
And I realize I granted your objection to not allow her to testify. The reason that the court had to call her is because of testimony by your client and conflicting testimony of Mr. Tenhor. And I decided the easiest way to end that conflict was to hear from the supervisor. Because that way, that's the only reason she was called. Because I did strike this witness at one point in time.
So, Judge,
but I do want to hear what she has to say about it.
But I just do want to make a brief record if the court will allow.
You did.
I believe, yes, Judge. I believe that there's substantial evidence that was intentionally not being provided to me because it does show a significant level of conflict between that this witness had based upon her relationship with Mr. Tenhor. And now I'm in a circumstance in a situation we are on trial now. And I have submitted a lawful subpoena, which the witness just testified that she failed to produce, failed to provide. And now my ability to impeach this supervisor has been.
That is why I'm limiting her testimony to observations of interactions between Mr. Tenhor and and his child. That's exactly why I'm limiting her testimony. Yeah. And you may preserve the objection. I just want to hear because from the testimony that I heard, so that you understand where the court is on this, it sounds like it was contentious at the beginning for the first month or so. But then it sounds as if it got better over time. Miss Churchill would like to hold it to the contentiousness that was in the beginning, but the testimony indicated that it got better over time, and I want a confirmation that it got better over time, or did it stay contentious? That is why Ms. Vanzi is here.
But just again, not to belabor the point, and I'm not going to.
You mean beside the fact that you've already belabored the point? Okay.
Correct.
Please
I'm not going to belabor it further than this. Only to say that my position in this case is that that the witness herself is not an objective observer in this case. And the problem is that I think that it is quite likely, although I don't know because I wasn't provided the evidence, that there may be an inappropriate, I mean that in the context of inappropriate for an objective supervisor, and her relationship and her friendship and the social interactions that she's had.
Those are what you have alleged, and they've been denied by Mr. Tenhor. I'm assuming you were going to question her on that.
Oh, I'm going to. But the problem is, I wouldn't have to. I am now deprived of an entire slew of evidence that may have proved these issues, and now I don't have it because the witness conveniently failed to provide it to me. So I will continue, but
Well,
I'd like
Can
to,
I-
what I will do is this, Ms. Van Zee, please have your supervisor or whoever received that subpoena send a bill or an invoice to Mr. Crow for how much it would cost to do all that. And then, Mr. Crow, all that information will be turned over to you, or you may show cause
and I will.
that person, and that will preserve the issue for an appropriate de novo if necessary.
Yes, sir.
But this has been stretched on since June of last year.
Yes,
I
sir.
would like to try and get a decision done in this somehow, some way. All
Thank
right.
you.
So
Thank you for your patience.
let's,
Robert.
I know you needed to make a record, especially now that I know why you needed to make a record. But again, the court called this witness, so the court would like to hear from this witness. So Mr. Crow, please proceed.
Thank you. And so, other than the, ma'am, since I did not receive your CV as requested, could you tell me what your educational background is?
I have a bachelor's degree in psychology and criminal justice from Michigan State University.
Do you have any other advanced degrees other than that, ma'am?
No,
Okay. And in Journeys, in working with Journeys for the 3 years in which you worked at Journeys, that involves you essentially observing the interaction between parents in a supervised in a highly supervised setting. Isn't that right?
yes.
Okay. And in that capacity, when you were working at Journeys, was it common for you to
Okay, so that is where we go to our next video. I have to do this in bits.
interact with the children and the parents while they were having their parenting time?
That would be determined on a case by case basis. There were a few cases where it was because the purpose for the visits were reunification and there had been a significant gap in contact between the parent and child or children. So virtually the parent was a stranger. So the children were more comfortable with my interaction, and then I would slowly back out of that interaction once they started to become more comfortable with their parent.
I see. And in this particular situation, how many visits did you have you facilitated or have you been supervising between Miss Churchill and Mr. Tenhor?
So I have those visits identified on the first two reports that I did. Do you want me to?
So these reports, and let me clarify that with you, ma'am. So you issued a report on October 2nd, 2023, and you issued a report on January 31st, 2024. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay. And in the 6 months, or I guess the 5 months, a little less than 5 months since January 31st, have you drafted a new report that would provide context to what has happened over the last 5 months?
I have not.
You have not. Okay. So this isn't a situation where you provided a report to Mr. Tenhor or not to me, right? So there's just no report?
Very not.
Okay. So there is no written report. So basically, may I ask why you didn't write a report previous to our trial date today?
We don't do that unless that is specifically requested by one of the parties.
So in your 3 years of acting as a supervisor, how many times have you appeared in court before?
One other time.
Okay, just to understand this, you've been working for 3 years at Michigan Assessment Service, and you've only had to appear in court on one other occasion for a custody case?
Um, This is supervised parenting time, not custody, but yes, one other time.
And you said that was peer supervised parenting time, not custody. Forgive me forgive my ignorance. When you say peer supervised parenting time, uh, would you walk me through what that means? Peer supervised parenting time? I'm not familiar with that expression.
I said that was supervised parenting time,
Oh, I'm
not
sorry. I thought you
custody.
said peer supervised. Your audio is kind of a little glitchy, so I apologize if I didn't hear. Okay. So other than supervised parenting time, so when you commonly do supervised parenting time in these cases, are you obligated to provide a report to the court? Isn't that sort of the point?
If the court requests that, I have not had a situation where that has been requested by the court. It's typically requested by one of the parties.
Okay. And so in the previous times in which you have issued a report, and I'm just thinking of the report, I guess, from October 2nd, 2023, you provided a copy of that report to Mr. Tenhor months in advance before you provided it to Ms. Churchill or my office. Isn't that right?
I would have to go back through our emails as to when I sent that to you. But I do know that I explained to Mr. Tenhor that it was his responsibility to disseminate that report to all the interested parties.
So to be clear, it was your policy and your position that you were going to send the report to Mr. Tenhor and just take him at his word that he was going to provide it to myself and to Ms. Churchill. Is that how you've been instructed to deal with these types of reports?
Well, he is the first individual that has been in pro se. So, yeah, I told him that that was the procedure. If he wanted to use the report that I did, I don't believe he would be allowed to do so without also making that available to everyone interested, meaning the
But
court and yourself.
but theoretically, you were providing the report to Mr. Tenhor and you were giving him, I mean, quite frankly, a distinct advantage is that you were sending it to him. And even if he elected not to call you as a witness, or if the court didn't do it, he would have the report months in advance, and have the ability to prepare and determine his case and how to move forward in the matter months in advance over Ms. Churchill, wouldn't he?
Well, I think at the time there was a hearing scheduled within a few days of that report that ended up being adjourned. So it did end up being months in advance, but that was not how it was originally scheduled as far as the hearings and what was requested and provided.
All right, but you had a report from October 2nd of 2023. The trial date in this case that did get adjourned, and it got adjourned because you didn't provide the report. That's what the judge, that's what the court decided, that since you failed to provide the information to my office and Ms. Churchill, that's why the case was adjourned. It wasn't adjourned for any other reason besides that, to be clear.
Objection, I sent you that the day after you requested it.
That's not a valid objection, Your Honor.
Well, it's a, Mr. Tenhor, you can do that on cross-examination. It's not necessarily a valid objection, but Mr. Crow, I've given you a lot of leeway on this. This witness was called for one purpose, not to beat a dead horse of a legal technicality.
I'll move
You've
on.
you've beaten that dead horse on more than one occasion. You actually granted the relief allowed for that on one of those occasions. I got it. The only
Got
reason
it.
this witness is here is to give me the observation that she had between Mr. Tenhor and his child.
I'll move on, Judge. Thank you.
You've set a very good and lengthy record
I
of
will
the fact
continue.
that there are some legal technicalities here. The problem is pragmatically, I need to know what's in the best interest of this child.
And again, I hear you, Judge, and I'm going to be moving on as the court is
Thank
instructed.
you.
It's just, it is
I
difficult
know, it's difficult. The
because
problem is that the court does not have those reports either. They're not entered into evidence. That's why we had her have to come and testify.
that's right.
All right.
Okay, so ma'am, you began your schedule of supervised access, would it be fair to say, on or about July 25th, 2023? Does that sound about right?
Yes.
Okay. And during the course of that parenting time, you had the opportunity to observe both Ms. Churchill and Mr. Tenmore. Is that correct?
Primarily Mr. Tenhor. But Miss Churchill, those were in her residence, so there was some interaction that I was able to observe.
Okay. And essentially, tell me what was your approach to the supervisor as the supervisor in the context of this visitation? How did you approach it?
She creed framed.
Okay, I was gonna say, I think, Ms. Van Zee, it does not seem like you have a good internet connection. So what I'm gonna do is have you go off video, because I need to hear from you more than see you, no offense. But normally the video does suck up, the video sucks up a lot of Wi-Fi, so hopefully that'll do it.
Okay.
All right, there we
Tell
go.
me about it, Judge.
Okay. And so, Samantha, what was your approach to being?
Hector, her last name in Canada would be called Vanzetti. It's actually a very common last name here, Vanzetti. It's spelt the exact same way, Vanzee, but pronounced Vanzetti. Yeah. Very common Canadian name.
The supervisor in this setting?
My approach was to observe, and I did make myself available to the children also, as far as helping with the comfort level, because it had been quite a period of time since I had seen their father. So I had met them once before, so not that they knew me very well, but at least I was familiar with them. But I primarily observed, I would say I had a little more interaction with them at Miss Churchill's home because the children would invite me into that interaction, and I'm not going to ignore them.
Okay. And when you say that they would invite you into that interaction, can you explain that a little bit more? What does it mean for a supervisor to be
They would
invited?
they would come up to me with a toy and start talking to me about that or about something, showing me something they made or wanting my help to maybe open a package. And I would do that. Um, they like to do projects, so some of them, one of the girls may want me to help with holding down a piece of paper perhaps while she was gluing and while Mr. Tenhor was helping the other child.
Okay. And these interactions that when the children would come up to you, uh, is this because they perhaps had a certain comfort level with you based upon you being the supervisor?
They're very friendly children, very friendly and outgoing.
Okay. And so, ma'am, isn't it a fact that there were quite a few times in which the children, instead of coming up to Mr. Tenhor, would come up to you to ask you to participate in the parenting time rather than with Mr. Tenhor?
They may have done that, and I would redirect them at times. I may do what it was they asked. I mean, I can't think of a specific. I'm going from memory here. So there may be times when I may hold a doll because one of the twins came up to me with a baby doll and was talking to me about the baby doll needing to take a nap. So I may have held the baby doll. If she, say, wanted to change the baby doll's clothes, that would be something I would redirect the child to Mr. Tenor. That's just an example.
Okay. And in your report from October 2nd of 2023, you indicated that there were times in which Mr. Tenhor appeared overwhelmed with the task of juggling 3 children with different needs and wants. Is that sort of what you're describing here today?
That would happen at times
Okay.
when
And
we start acting out and being able to address their behavior. He
And
would
that-
get over.
in addition, that there were also, isn't it a fact, ma'am, that there were also times that you had to be the one to interject and provide guidance to the children because that guidance was not being provided for by Mr. Tenhor?
I wouldn't say that he wasn't providing guidance at all. It just may have been ineffective.
All right, so in your report, when you said there have been occasions when I've interjected and provided the guidance for the children by saying no or directly letting them know what was unacceptable, was that an accurate statement when you wrote that in your report?
Yes,
Okay, so indeed, that there were times in which that you were the one who had to provide meaningful guidance to the children. Isn't that right?
yes.
Okay.
Mr. Crow, are we entering the report if you're quoting from it?
I'm not, Your Honor. I'm just using it for the purposes of
Okay, but
credibility of the witness.
you have the report at least.
Oh, I do have the report from October. I'm not entering it into evidence, though, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm using it to impeach the credibility of the witness.
All right.
And just referencing it. Thank you, Your Honor. And in addition to that, ma'am, the children, when the children came to the visits, did it appear to you that the children were well cared for by Ms. Churchill on a regular basis?
For the visits at her place as well as Mr. Tenhor's,
Yes,
yes.
just your general observation.
Yes.
Okay. And just to kind of jump to more recent events here, how are the there has been a bit of an interruption in the visitation over the last several months, isn't that correct?
Yes.
And do you happen to know why these visits have been interrupted?
I myself was hospitalized for 8 days and off work for a month following. And during that time period, so there's some overlap with the reasons why parenting time was missed, beginning with my hospitalization. And during that time that I was not available, Mr. Tenhor had taken vacation, and then he was subsequently hospitalized as well.
Did Mr. Tenhor reveal to you why he was hospitalized?
He described some of, bottom, he said the physicians could not find, uh, they were treating the symptoms, but they were not finding the cause of his illness. So it wasn't labeled anything. But he had severe inflammation, is my understanding, of certain vital organs.
Do you have was any information provided whether or not there might have been an essential cause to this? It may not have been
Not that,
provided.
not
Okay.
that I'm aware.
Okay. And so how long, if you recall, how long was this hospitalization for?
For him or myself?
For him.
Let's see. I know what mispairing time took place, so there may be, I may be off by a day or two as far as the actual dates of hospitalization for him. But I have 3/19 until 4/2, that parenting time was missed due to his illness.
And there's been another recent hospitalization, has there not?
Yes, and that parenting time has not taken place from 5/13 to the present.
Okay, so from 3/19/24 to 4/12, and from 5/13 to 5/20, there has not been any parenting time
Due to
based
his
on
illness.
due
But
to the alleged illness. Yes, okay, that there has not been.
There was also misparenting time on May 7th and May 12th. He was working on May 7th, and May 12th was Mother's Day.
Okay, so it seems that from our last court date, there have been several missed opportunities that Mr. Tenhorn could have exercised parenting time that didn't occur. Is that fair to say?
Objection, I can't have parenting time when I'm in the hospital.
Again, that's not an objection. That's not a legal objection. What that is a cross-examination question. And more importantly, pragmatically correct. I mean,
Ms. Bendy?
the court can't force somebody who's hospitalized or undergoing medical treatment to engage in parenting time that might not be safe for the child.
Well, surely not. And that's not my suggestion. My only suggestion
Right.
is to confirm the timing of what we're talking about.
Right.
All right.
So we got 2 months that she was out and about 2 months that he was out, all due to hospitalizations and illness.
Okay. And so let's talk about how the recent visits have been going. Ms. Van Zee, let's say, since we don't have a report, let's go from the visits that did occur. And again, since I have no information, I'm just kind of asking in the blue here, asking in the dark. Isn't it a fact, ma'am, that
Ooh, we
the
made it. Hold on. We made it to almost Judge Surfer Dude. I checked for his channel still, Hector. Okay. Now we have 2 more minutes of sped up, and then we're at real time, baby. Yeah, that's right. We made it all the way. Woo!
have been expressing a certain level of discontent with the visitation as of late?
Let me see. Just maybe the last 3 visits. They had been going very well. And then the children have been acting out significantly the last, hold on, for at least the last 3 visits, to where I noted it. I will say this though, there was one bit where I was very surprised because it was out of character to have gone on, because usually what happens because all kids are kids and they may misbehave a little bit, not listening, and Mr. Tenhor will give them some guidance about what his expectation is, and they usually listen right away. A couple, on 2 occasions, 2 of the last 3 visits, one of the girls would begin the visit expressing discontent, saying she didn't want to be here.
What's happening? Where's the audio? Oh, what the fuck?
Testimony that indicates
Weird. I know what happened. It's the part where I sped it up. It's fine though. We just have to go to here, I think.
Parenting time takes place down.
Oh, fucking shit. Yeah, here. This is it right here.
At his place, and a crate for a dog is also in the living room.
Have you-
Television, stand.
So the children, are they allowed to play everywhere in the house, or is there only a specific area where the children are allowed to play in Mr. Tenhor's residence?
Parenting time takes place downstairs in the living room, the main floor in the living room. There is an upstairs that is 3 bedrooms only.
But the children are not allowed to go upstairs. Is that right?
Correct. He keeps, well, they go up the stairs and they go in the bathroom up there. But he keeps his dog up there, and the bedrooms are for his stepchildren, and those are locked just for privacy purposes. There is one bedroom at one time that wasn't. So Mr. Tenhor let the children look at that and explained whose bedroom that was. But typically the children don't go upstairs, no. He keeps his dog there during the visits.
And so, seems that you know quite a bit of the backstory here too, ma'am. Is that fair to say?
What I don't know what you mean by backstory.
Well, it seems to me that you have a little bit of an understanding about Mr. Tenhor's, about who lives in the residence, how long, what other children reside there. Is that fair to say?
Yes, I don't have it memorized, but yeah, he has written that down for me.
Okay. We've heard some testimony, withdrawn. How often have you communicated with Mr. Tenhor outside of Ms. Churchill's presence? I know there's a group text. Do you often communicate with Mr. Tenhor?
Since the group text, no. I mean, I may here and there, like I did about his hospitalization, and wanting to know when he was going to be discharged, and I wanted to be sure that he was released by his doctor, because just because you're discharged from the hospital doesn't mean you're ready for parenting time to resume. And I wanted to be sure that he was released by his doctor before we did. So I may have some communication along those lines.
All right. So if we heard testimony that indicated that there was never a time that you had communication outside of billing issues, that would not be accurate, correct?
If there is, it's related to parenting time.
Okay. Would you say that this happened fairly often, or would you say it didn't happen fairly often?
Not often.
Not often. Okay. And so the children are only allowed to have only been upstairs once in Mr. Tenhor's residence. Am I hearing that correctly, or am I misstating that?
No, they've gone up several times.
Okay. And do you have any?
He just reiterates who the rooms and how the dog's in one of them, and we're not gonna stay up there. We're gonna come back downstairs and play. We're all up there on the landing together.
All right. And so are all the bedrooms in Mr. Tenhor's residence on the upstairs spoken for, as far as you know?
Yes.
Okay. So there are not any empty rooms. They're all right now filled with some of his other children. Is that correct? Or stepchildren?
Yes.
Okay. Understood.
Yes.
Okay. And so, one moment, Your Honor. So you testified a moment ago about the toys that are in Mr. Tenhor's residence. Are these toys that Mr. Tenhor has purchased for the children?
Yes.
As far as you know, at least, right?
Correct.
And are the children allowed to take these toys back to Ms. Churchill's home?
Very little. He has explained to them that they're toys to stay at his place, so they have something to do when they're there. But he has allowed them periodically to take something small with them, because children can be quite insistent, and it is their things. So he has done that. I know there was an art project where the girls painted a couple of pictures for their mother and wanted to take them back home.
Okay.
I don't remember what other toys, but small toys. And also it would be something I would want her to be aware of and not make things more difficult for her, such as the toy being slime or something like that, that she has to worry about getting on things.
Okay. How big a role does video games play in the visitation?
Yeah, I think this is difficult. I feel uneasy about staking a real claim on this. I think if both parents are at a similar financial ability, they should just interchange toys as children want and not worry necessarily about it. If there is, but I remember also not being able to bring things back and forth. I don't know why. I never did that to my daughter. I would never. Like, even if she wanted to take something ridiculous, I'd be like, yep, no problem, sure. And then just laugh when I would get a text message like, why did she bring a giant octopus with her? I don't fucking know. She wanted to bring a giant fucking octopus. That's what we do. Like, but I never cared. But for example, my mother bought gifts for my daughter once that were meant to be left at her house. To the point where they weren't allowed to be played with when they were first purchased. She literally took them, like gave them as a Christmas gift, then took them to the cabin 5 hours away to keep them there. And yeah. I just thought that was so weird. Like, if you want to have stuff at your house, I don't know that you should buy those as gifts. I think you can buy those as house toys and be like, actually, these toys live here. But don't give them as a gift. Don't say to your child, this is yours while you're here. That is the problem for me. You can have house toys, but giving gifts, I think children should be able to take gifts with them when they take them. Especially Christmas gifts, I think. But my family, I find that when, I also only had one daughter, right? One child. She's an only grandchild until this year. So she's had like 16 years of being the only grandchild. It was never really a problem for us. But I do think that it's tough if mom has a bunch of stuff at her house and mom's better at saying, no, like you can't be bringing that, or I've packed your bags for you. But like I was saying, like my family is the type of family where, and I didn't know this wasn't normal, and I remember the first time somebody came to Christmas with me, like a boyfriend, and they bought multiple outfits for my daughter and then made her try them on and then took some back, even though she liked them all. They were never planning on keeping them all, even though she then got to open them all. And my boyfriend at the time was like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, oh, we're just trying on the dresses and then she'll pick which ones she wants. She'll pick which one she wants. And he was like, what do you mean? Why wouldn't she keep them all? And I was just like, oh, like it never occurred to me. But that's how my family was often. Like they would just bring lots of gifts and then you didn't get to keep them all. Yeah, I learned that was weird. I was in my 20s. And it was a sad Christmas. I remember it was the guy that I live with now, and he was like, she wants all the dresses. Just give her all the dresses. And I was like, oh, yeah. let's just give her all the dresses. I think we ended up keeping them that year. He was just like, does it cost money? Is that the problem? Like, do we need to buy them? He just did not like that. He was like, that doesn't feel right to me to watch. But I remembered that all throughout my childhood. That was a standard. Like, you might get to open a few gifts but you wouldn't always get to keep them all. And now that I say it out loud, like, that is super weird. It was almost always exclusively clothing. And I think that they would go with saying like, well, you don't like to try clothes on, so I can't just buy them for you and you not like them. Anyways.
That has been prominent for the last couple months since Mr. Tinhor purchased for Christmas time the Nintendo Switch.
Okay, so walk me through who's playing with the video games, who's not playing with the video games during these visits.
All 4 of them.
So are all of the children playing equally with this, or is there a time that one of the children are kind of left out, or 2 of the children are left out?
Okay, so that goes in and out. At first, it was usually all 4 of them: Mr. Tenhor, Birdie, Sailor, and Hudson. And Birdie generally sits on Mr. Tenhor's lap, and he plays for her. She loses interest the quickest, and because she doesn't do as well, so he plays her character for her. Sometimes both girls are disinterested and want to move on and do something else, and that's happened the last few times. And he's set them up with either a game or another toy that they enjoy doing. I know the art project, he purposely set that up for them to do, with the option for Hudson to also do that. But Hudson took the opportunity to play with the Nintendo Switch by himself. He enjoys that, and he's very patient with his sisters, but sometimes his sisters purposely frustrate him.
So if the point of the parenting time is
Yeah, the problem with our system was that there was this ambiguous gift hole that the money sort of went into, and it's all about codependency and like making people rely upon you. I don't like it. It's not how I like to do things now. I never did it as my daughter was younger either. I was never organized enough to return things. I would just buy maybe to excess, but again, I only had one child and I just never returned things. If they didn't fit, like they were too small or something, like after a while, everything's too small. And then I would gift it to somebody else, or, you know what I mean? Like clothing was super cheap when my daughter was young. And so it sounds like we're talking about 3 kids here. 3 kids of any age playing a video game together is very difficult. Very difficult.
for the gentleman to be reintroduced into the lives of the children. In your professional opinion, do you think it makes sense for video games to play such a crucial role in the interaction?
Yeah, putting them together.
I'm sorry?
They're playing them together as far as talking and laughing about what each other does with their characters, what's happening on the screen, because there's music. They all sing along to the music or think it's silly and laugh, and yeah.
Is that the kids as far as you know, and certainly not to repeat anything that they said, but based on your observations, is it your understanding that that's how the children feel about it? The children feel that they're being included in this whole video game situation at the residence?
Yes, they appear so, yes.
Okay. But isn't there has been quite a few times in which Mr. Tenor is playing video games, and then isn't it a fact that you've had to actually take steps in order to entertain the other children who are not included in that?
No, there's been one time I was handed a controller because Mr. Tenhor was opening, I think,
Also, you guys, I want to point out that Mr. Crow's name, first name, giving him benefit of the doubt that he did not spell it wrong, is spelled Waynre. Waynra. I don't know which one it is, but
you're talking another child with a toy. I know he's gone to get them water, and one of the children handed me the controller, which I have no idea what I'm doing. So they waited for him, and that was a joke. So no, he's very good about also letting Hudson know to wait a few minutes while he interacts with the girls in whatever they're doing. He'll go back and forth between those activities and share his attention.
Mm-hmm. All right. So in any given hour, about how much of that time is dedicated to the video games?
For Hudson, the whole thing, because he likes to play the Mario. There's 2 Mario games and one driving game and one's like a world game and then a Monopoly game that him and Mr. Tenhor originally were playing on a board game. And then he obtained the video version.
I'll just say, for the record, if my lawyer had a typo in his own name, I'm going to be concerned about his ability to read over important documents carefully. I'm being serious. I'm being fucking serious. I know it's a little thing. It would really make me question things. I'd be like, my bud, like, you're supposed to be my eyes here. You're supposed to be the smart guy. You're supposed to be the guy on top of it. You know, like, oh, jeez.
So how about Mr. Tenor? About in the hour, how much time is he spending on the video game system?
Like I said, he spends all of his time with them, but he will be doing Birdie's character when the girls, typically it's one girl, Birdie, will want to do something different, and he will share his time between her, Sailor, and Hudson. And Hudson's very patient about that too, and Sailor. When he does split his time, like I said, splits his time with both the girls too at times, and him and Hudson will just play.
Okay. And so you testified that there are the last 2 or 3 visits in which the children had that when they came in that they expressed a certain level of discomfort. Am I recognizing your testimony accurately? Is that what you said?
Could you repeat that?
That of the last 2 or 3 times in which the visit has taken place, the children have expressed a discomfort with the visitation. Is that fair to say? I just want to recast what your testimony was. Is that is that what you said a few minutes ago?
Yeah, discontent.
Discontent. Okay.
Just
Okay. And so
being grumpy and then acting out and then telling Mr. Tenhor, like maybe talking back with him, but then and here's an example. One of the girls said no to him, that she wasn't going to take off her shoes and wasn't going to listen to him. But then 30 seconds later, she turned around and kicked off her shoes and ran into the living room to play, and was having a good time.
Well, I mean, so to be very clear, in the previous reports you issued, we'll withdraw. I'm going to withdraw that. In addition, are you aware of some of the gifts in which have been given to the children by Mr. Tenhor?
Yes.
Okay. What type of gifts has Mr. Tenhor given to the children?
The girls have, I don't know the toy names, but they have
Judge is about to put it. And he's my fellow thing. He looks happy about it. He's like, My Little Pony, I'm a brownie.
yeah, they love those. They do. I had 3 boys. So that's this is a new world for me. But Princess shoes, where they have a set, and he purposely got a set that had multiple pairs, so they wouldn't fight over the shoes. He knows that Hudson enjoys Mario, and I don't know all the characters, but Mario. So he got him a race car set with Mario and the other characters of Mario Brothers.
Mhm.
Let's
And in
see.
addition to those items, he also provided the a bath bomb. Is that correct to his daughter? Is that right?
Well, there was a child spa set.
A child spa set.
This is so petty. Did they get to keep the child spa set? If it's princess play shoes, I can understand having to share them.
Okay.
Yeah, where each of the girls got a spa set.
Okay. And I just want to, if I may, do you recall on May 5th, the May 5th visit that you had with the kids?
Let's see. That would be the last visit. Yeah.
Correct. That's right. And so, do you recall some of the things that the children said about the visitation they were having at the inception of that meeting?
I know I was concerned, and I wrote it down in my notes. And this is that both girls were singing a song about the stupid man that lives in Holland.
The stupid man that lives in Holland. Oh, Tenhoor is a Dutch last name, isn't it? Yeah. Isn't it? Yeah. But Holland is a town in West Michigan. Oh. Well, that makes more sense, Wendy. They're talking about a Dutchman. Okay, I guess we'll just keep going. This is so weird. Also, so the dumb or the stupid man who lives in Holland. Well, that could be anybody.
And they thought it was funny. And AJ let them know that the song wasn't very nice. And that was a concern to me because it was
Who's AJ? That's an interesting little shortening of his name. AJ. Huh. Huh.
apparent that it was about AJ.
Okay. And in your experience, do those types of interactions, will that lead you to believe that there's been some positive growth in the relationship between the parent and the kids?
That there's been positive what?
Growth, and that there's a bonding going on between them?
It concerns me that they would put together a song like that, that would be unkind about their father.
And in addition, they've also said other things.
More so that they wouldn't be dissuaded from that. That's my bigger concern.
Mhm. And during the course of that last meeting, did the kids express the fact in one way or the other that they didn't wish to proceed with the parenting time on May 5th?
He did not say that.
Okay, so they did indicate that they don't want to be present. They don't want to be near the father for the parenting time. They never made that statement.
No, I know I was confused by a comment made by one of the girls that, let me see, let me look at my notes really quick. It was Birdie that said, if you don't stop saying that, her sister was going to run out the door to her mom. And I was very confused by saying what, and I asked Birdie that, and she didn't respond and continued to play the video game that I'm playing. It came out of nowhere. There was no context for the comment. So I wasn't sure why she was saying that.
Okay. And so there has been some in the visit before that on April 30th, there were also some issues. Isn't that correct?
Let's see. Yep.
And are these issues? These are issues in which there was actually some kind of physical fighting between the kids and the gentleman. Is that correct?
Physical fighting between the kids and Mr. Tenhor?
Yeah.
No.
Is that not accurate? Okay. There wasn't a situation where the children were again expressing their displeasure with being there. Is that right?
No, what happened, it started out with Birdie was crying because she was saying goodbye to her mom and accidentally got poked in the eye. So she was a little emotional to begin with. No, the arguing started with the children yelling with each other while they were playing the video game. Like I said, Hudson's usually very patient with his sisters.
And
Birdie, who gets bored very quickly with the video game, has a tendency to try to frustrate him by pausing the game in mid-action. He got frustrated with her and went to take the controller from her in a manner that was so aggressive that she fell backward. At that point, Mr. Tenhor had all three children sit on the couch for a timeout.
And so, how involved are you in reprimanding the children? And I mean, we're talking now. This is April 30th, 2024. We're almost a year into the supervised visitation, are we not?
Yes.
Are you still playing a principal role in interacting with the children and dealing with the the issues with the children?
Not so much as I was before. I would say hardly at all. I will say I did step in with this after Mr. Tenhor already addressed the children and had them apologize for how they were behaving.
You had them do that?
He did that. And then I asked if I could also say something because I wanted the children to not just apologize, but to apologize to each other.
I mean, can I just ask?
They had really hurt each other's feelings, and I thought it might reinforce that a little bit more.
Ms. Benzie, this is now 10 months into the supervised visitation starting. Okay. Do you think it's appropriate in your capacity 10 months in that you are still sort of assisting and managing the moment by moment interaction between a father and their 3 children?
If the situation warrants it, I will do that, but I have not been, it has been much less so than what it was in the beginning.
What has been much less so?
My intervening, if you'll, for lack of a better term.
Okay. But it doesn't really appear as if the relationship is getting better based on your testimony.
I would disagree.
You have a. I'm going to withdraw. I'll withdraw that comment, what I was about to say. Okay. And so
I'd like to remind you, I'd like this wrapped up and we only have 43 minutes.
I'm sorry.
I want to end this today.
Judge, I understand that we have a year. We have a year.
We have a year's worth, and I've
So-
heard a lot.
Yes, I understand, Your Honor. And would the court allow me just take a brief 5-minute break?
Certainly, and then I'll give you 5 minutes to wrap up whatever you're doing.
Oh, well, thank you, referee. I appreciate it. I will speak with my
All right.
colleague.
Then we will recess for 5 minutes.
Wow, what a little ending there. And then we have one more bit. One more. If this one is 2x for a little bit of it, I can't fix it now. So we'll just have to deal with it. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, no, that's
It's gonna
okay.
be 2x for a little bit.
Off the record, and I said yes, we were.
Oh.
I assume that.
Hold on. Judge. Okay. So I can't slow this down now. I apologize. I don't think it'll be long. The way we do. This is how I listen to most court anyways on 2x. Buckle up. Buckle up.
In your closing statement, you're going to request to strike, or at the conclusion of this testimony, you're going to do what you requested, which is to strike her testimony. But I want her testimony on the record. We're also going to have to discuss at the end of this because I've not met with the children. And I can't remember because I do so many of these cases and this has been going on a year. So did we ever state the children were too young for me to meet with, or did you want me to meet with the
I
children?
want you to meet with the children.
Then in that case, I will meet with the children and I will have my clerk work with you, Mr. Crow, and your client. No offense, Mr. Tenhor, but she has more access to their availability than you do. So, and I want to meet with them. What I will do is I will meet with them in their bedrooms individually, and I will make sure that Ms. Churchill, they need to be alone.
I remember hearing that and thinking that is a terrible choice of words, Your Honor. Please don't say that you're going to meet with small children in their bedrooms alone. I know you don't mean it. I know it's not like that, but it just is terrible wording.
Nobody else in the room with them, not even the other children. So I'll meet with them one by one. And I realize they're kind of young, but there is case law out there, Quint versus Quint, which basically says if the court not meeting with a 6-year-old can be a mistrial, which means we have to start all over. and I'm not interested in doing that. I believe the appeals court's request was basically to the legislature to say, can you put an age limit on this, like we do an age limit for charging children with crimes? But at this point, the law just says that the court is to take into account the preference of the child. So I'm going to have to, unless the parties agree that the children are medically or mentally fragile enough not to meet with, or that the parties agree that the children are too young to meet with. But at this point, I'll meet with the children. All right. So we are on the record, Mr. Crow. I believe you were still in the matter of your examination, so please continue.
So
Okay, and now we're at regular speed.
again, the court has said that wanted me to sort of wrap this up, so I will, as the court directs, I will wrap it up. I only have a few.
Well, I've given you several days, so I want to get it done because I have 3 o'clock juvenile detention hearings.
Yes, Judge, and I understand that, and I certainly do not wish to draw the ire of the court.
You're not going to draw the ire of the court. You're going to keep me from doing something I don't want to do anyway. I'd rather spend the time with you.
I understand, Judge, and I appreciate that. Okay, so, ma'am, if the request is
Ms. Van Zee, you are still under oath. I would note that since we went off the record. So,
Yes,
all
sir.
right, proceed, Mr. Crow.
so, Ms. Van Zee, as it relates to supervising these 3 children, you have up to this point, it sounds to me that you've had to sort of continuously interact with these children during the parenting time. Is that fair to say?
I do interact with them regularly, and I would not say intervene, but I will not ignore them if they address something towards me.
Now, I mean, you indicate that you will not intervene, but I think in the issue when it came to that song that they were singing about, Mr. Tenhor, you did intervene, did you not?
No, Mr. Tenhor did.
Isn't it a fact, ma'am, that you actually told them to apologize to Mr. Tenhor?
No, I told them to apologize to each other when things had gotten physical between the children. No, Mr. Tenhor addressed that by telling the children that was not a nice thing.
I mean,
to say what they were singing.
So to be very clear, 11 months into you supervising this parenting time, you still feel that it is your role to actively, to essentially not just be an observer or a supervisor, but it's your role 11 months in, to actively participate in this parenting time. Is that right?
If necessary, I have.
Okay. I have nothing further for this witness, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tenhor. Any questions of this witness?
Yes, I do. So seeing that, you've been around for 11 months now, wouldn't it be weird if they didn't want to talk to you or interact with you?
Right. That's why when they do address me, I'm not going to ignore the children.
Right. And it's not because you have to, it's just because we've been together for 11 months, correct?
They come up to me naturally, right?
Right. Okay. I want to talk about the transition time, from when the time that the children are dropped off from Brittany and usually her father to the time that they enter my house. How does that usually go?
Typically, it's gone very well. With the exception of the last few, but I wouldn't even say that starts to occur at the drop off. It starts to occur immediately at the beginning of parenting time, after they've been dropped off, within the first couple of minutes. But if you're talking about the actual exchange, the one thing that I would like to say about that is my desire to have both you and Brittany be more interactive during that time.
Right.
But
So it would be fair to
actual-
say it's a little awkward. There's some tension.
Yes.
Okay. And then how is their behavior once they're inside the house when the door's closed and there's no more interaction with Brittany?
With the exception of the last few visits, it has gone very well. They're very excited to be there. They're happy, easygoing kids that look forward to the next adventure, and that happens to be.
I'm going to object to the witness statement regarding looking forward, unless there is a independent basis for that, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Tenhor, I'm going to have to ask you to re-ask the question based on the fact that we don't want to go into speculation.
Okay. I'll move forward. I'll move on.
No problem.
Do the children seem like they're apprehensive to be around me?
No, both girls very readily climb up into your lap while you play the video game that you play. They laugh with you about different observations and things that are said when you guys are sharing things.
Me too, Jim. The only thing I can think of is that he's unrepresented. And so he did not have the proper motions made. It's very rare without cases of even in cases of extreme abuse, we see children transfer from supervised visitation to unsupervised, all those different things quickly. And this is not quick. What I would just give him the benefit of the doubt, which I don't know if I should, that it's only because he's unrepresented, therefore doesn't know how to file the proper motions and hasn't. But it's almost unheard of. Like, I wonder how much it costs to do any amount of supervised parenting, in-home supervision. That's crazy. Also, my Fitbit broke today, you guys. I gotta reset it, see if that works. I'm trying not to get all pissy about it because I love my Fitbit, but I'm upset about this. Yeah, and also he needs bedrooms for these kids. How are they supposed to stay overnight if they're not even allowed upstairs, nevertheless have a room? That's not gonna work. But if there are other kids that live in that house, is there a concern of safety for those kids? I mean, I have so many questions.
Whether that's the activity that you're doing and you're commenting on that, or if you're talking about their trip, they took a trip to Florida, I forget the destination and the things they do there. They seem excited to play with the things that you've provided for them, and the interaction has been going really well.
And then earlier,
I know I got this one with my air miles, Vicky, and I don't have enough money to buy another one either. So that's why I'm mostly mad. That's why I'm mad, because it really does keep me on track better than most things.
Miss Churchill testified that they find me creepy. Has that been your experience, that they seem to think that I'm creepy?
That would not be my observation.
Well, Your Honor, I'm going to object to that. I'm going to object to the testimony unless that's something that can be readily observed by the witness.
She just said it's due to her observation.
I understand, but to discern whether or not a child or any individual finds another person creepy, you're speculating to what is in the heads of the child.
I think you're the one that brought it up.
I'm not the one who asked the question, Judge.
Not that question, but you brought up the fact of the creepiness.
Yeah, but I mean, if
you're going to bring it up, then it gets to get cross-examined on.
I know, but yes, Judge. However you want to.
Okay.
You wish to proceed. No, but I disagree, Judge.
You can't ask a question, bring up a statement that basically you made, not even your client made, and consider.
I didn't make that statement, Judge.
I think it was close. So, but in any event, yeah, I'm going to let him.
No, my objection.
I'm going to overrule the objection because I believe that he needs to address that, because there was a tint of that in your examination. So.
And that's fine. It's just that whether or not the witness is able to, what is the basis of knowledge for the witness's testimony?
Well, she seemed to have a basis when you asked the question.
I didn't ask this witness about.
No, you asked. I don't think you used the word creepy, but it was kind of similar. So I'm going to allow the cross-examine and take into account the fact that he's asking it as a lay, non-attorney party.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, but objection overruled. Mr. Tenhor, you may re-ask the question if Ms. Van Zee needs it, or Ms. Van Zee, you may answer it.
As I said, I haven't observed that with the children's behavior. One of the girls at one time, Mr. Tenhor, she would run up to him and he'd lift her up in his arms. And swing.
For fuck's sake. Creed frames. It was MB. It was you. Mayor, hi. Creepy is as creepy does. They do look like they bump some uglies, allegedly. I doubt it, though. She's not that good looking. No offense, Brittany. For some reason, I'm imagining her with a Russian accent. I know it's so doubtful, but that's how she is in my head. You did? For what? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Christopher Engelby coming in at the end as we're listening to these petty people. The judge is all mad. How are you? His middle name is Jan. You made it too.
Use the bathroom. He's there by the door. I'm in the kitchen, so I can observe and hear. They chat away with him while they're using the bathroom without any apprehension at all. I don't observe their what I have observed is more of them feeling comfortable around Mr. Tenhor and readily going to him. Like I said, sitting in his lap, playing games with him, laughing, giggling, and talking with him.
Mr. Tenor?
Yeah. So basically the point of our supervised visit was reintroduction, and it was to, get the children accustomed and used to me again. Julie, in your professional opinion, do you feel like that has happened?
That goal of reunification, yes, has been successful, I would say.
Okay. No further questions.
Thank you. Any recross, Mr. Crow?
Well, Your Honor, again, based upon having no information or discovery other than what the witness is testifying today, it is almost impossible to actively participate in this back and forth, Your Honor, because essentially information that I would use to potentially impeach her opinion has been willfully not provided to my office. But what I will say is this, Your Honor, ma'am, it's your testimony that that you do not believe that you believe the children are fully comfortable being around Mr. Tenhor. Is that accurately stated?
They appear to be comfortable. Now, when you use the word fully, I don't know and what if that has a different meaning. Because I wouldn't say entirely comfortable. There may be a situation when they may not be. I haven't been able to observe Mr. Tenhor with the children for more than an hour at a time.
Right.
So,
and
that may impact their level of comfort too. But yeah, what I have observed is for 80% or more, they show being comfortable with Mr. Tenhor.
Okay.
And I have to add, the reason for why you did not receive the information you requested was not willful, and I just want to, for the record, state this mischaracterization of why you didn't.
Ms. Van Zee,
I'll
let me
move
make a
right.
legal determination that it doesn't matter whether it was non-willful or not, it didn't happen. The request was a legal
Correct.
request, therefore
Yep, and that will be
yeah,
rectified.
and non-compliance is non-compliance. So it doesn't matter whether it was willful or accidental, not at this point. If a show cause hearing for contempt is held, that would come into.
And see, that was it. And that's how quick it ended. And it went back to a gambling video because I have an addiction to gambling videos. Vegas Matt, one of my new favorites. Actually, in his video today that was released. Oh, Chris, you are so sweet. Thank you so much. Vegas Matt, and that was the end, by the way. Like, that ended. I was caught up. He stopped the stream, and that's how it ended. But Vegas Matt, Judge Kometz looks like he should be the fucking supervisor at the call center. No offense to any supervisors at call centers. Anyways, so Vegas Matt.
Jackpot Carnival.
Jackpot Carnival. Their channel is, his channel is very, I enjoy it. When Creed has left us gambling, I might have to pick up the gambling torch but gamble with fake money. I can't do it with real money, but I could play fake money gambling. We could have fun. Anyways, Vegas Matt today. So one of his little shticks is that he asked people to send t-shirts for him to wear, and he gets a lot of them. But anyways, today he said that he received the shirt from a circuit court judge that watches his channel. And I commented, I said, I'm dying to know which circuit court judge sent you the t-shirt. I love, like I just said, I was like, my channel covers courts all over the USA. I'd love to know. I'm sure they won't tell me, but still hilarious. Anyways, I'm gonna go slurp up my strawberry mess that I've made. I got heartburn already. I worked in a call center too, by the way, just so y'all know. So there's ain't no shame. But Judge Kometz or magistrate or commissioner or whatever, he just has such a vibe, such a vibe. Tomorrow's Thursday. I think I'm going to go see my baby, my sister's baby. But I'll be around for the evening. And then Friday, getting down on Friday. Excited. I hope that you guys had a wonderful evening. And remember that I love you. I am proud of you. Send prayers for my Fitbit to work. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.